What's good, everybody? Just wanted to give it a couple seconds, let everyone else join onto the session. You guys already know how it is. So what's good, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hopefully everyone is having an amazing day. Today being Tuesday, if I'm correct, right? Yes, it is. So today being Tuesday, we should have some volatility within the markets, obviously, since the markets have been open since Sunday. And Mondays aren't really the most volatile, the most you don't get the majority of the movement. Being on a Tuesday, everything should have developed. We should have some good opportunities, some great markets to look at, and obviously mark up and really give you guys some information and knowledge. So real quick, again, good morning, everybody. Thank you guys for being on with me this morning. We will be going over some things. What's good, Shayna? What is good? What is good? I appreciate you being on this morning. I appreciate everybody. I know we've been growing this consistently every day. I really want to make sure that I'm impacting everybody's life in a positive manner. So you guys being on every day are definitely going to be seeing a lot of progression within your own trading. Hopefully you guys are able to learn a lot from our initial calls. If not, make sure that you're asking questions so that way I know what to speak on in relevance to really help you understand what it is that you need to understand to get to that next step in your profitable trading career. I was just taking a quick look at Bitcoin real quick because it did exactly what I figured it would do. So I will come back to this here a little bit later. I obviously want to talk about Forex pairs, see if there's any trade opportunities that we can get into, answer any questions that you guys may have, and really see if there's any potential profits that we can make on these sessions, because not only do I want to educate and teach, I want to make sure that you guys are obviously making money on these sessions, just so that way you can see that what I teach, what I show you is in fact valid, that you can use exactly what I do to make profits in the market, and that you should be using these tools and using them the way that I use them to be more consistent. I think that's the biggest thing. So again, good morning. What's good? What's good, my man, Uncle Ma? What's good? All right. So before I begin, also understand that there is a minor delay. So with that delay, if I say something now, you're probably going to get that in like the next 10 to 15 seconds. You know what I mean? So if you ask a question and you don't see me answer it immediately, don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm not. It's just that sometimes the questions are popping up way later than initially asked. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, if there's any specific markets you would like for me to take a look at, feel free to let me know. I definitely got you. If not, there are some things that there's no trade opportunities, but there might be some markets that I would like to take a look at just to see how they're doing, see if there's any relevant ideas and trade opportunities. But if there's something you quite don't understand, if there's something you need help with, please let me know. If you ask me up or down on Euro USD or is gold buying or selling, I'm not going to answer that. You should be able to understand how that looks and be able to determine that factor on your own. But if there's something you need help with, if there's something you quite don't understand, if you need help with a tool or how to use something, by all means, feel free to let me know. Because the questions these are the most common questions I get. And I swear to God, is the market up or down? Where do you enter? And what time frames? Those should already be answered. And if you don't know what those are, you can easily Google those. You should ask questions that will actually help you become more consistent. And time frames and entries, you won't be able to understand what an entry is unless you know how to mark up a chart. So if you ask decent questions, you'll be able to get those answers. So I want to make sure that I'm speaking in relevance. So yeah, let me know if you guys have anything. If not, I'll just continue to mark up Bitcoin real quick. And oh, that's actually old. Let me get rid of that. So I'm just going to mark up Bitcoin real quick. Well, this is actually pretty much marked up. I wanted to see what it was originally doing, but we don't have anything on it just yet. But when we do, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated. But I will say that I'm looking for Bitcoin to continue to sell. Just before we begin, as I'm looking at this, we're about to jump off on Bitcoin. But I do think that the majority of cryptos, Bitcoin included, or the main one, should continue to be bearish. So if I continue to see that, I'll let you guys know whether to invest or not to invest, because a lot of people are still investing into Bitcoin while it's currently, I don't care what anybody says, it's currently very much in a bearish market. I know right now everybody's like, no, that's very bullish. We go to a higher time frame, that's not bullish whatsoever. The overall idea for this is still very much bearish. So I want to see if Bitcoin and the majority of all other cryptos can in fact continue to sell, because if they do, I have a nice little area where I would like to personally invest. I don't day trade cryptos. I personally invest into it. I just put money into Coinbase or whatever crypto wallet that I'm using, and then I go ahead and invest that way. So I'm looking anywhere around that $10,000, $11,000 handle to invest into Bitcoin, and I'm also looking around this $3,000 to $2,000 handle down here. So I'm just marking this up really quick since I was on this before you guys jumped on, and I wanted to just look at this in case anybody else was in fact looking at Bitcoin. So I'll move on to some Forex pairs, answer any and all questions if you guys have them. Doesn't seem like you guys have any questions or any specific markets you guys want to take a look at. But I will say this, understand that I'm not doing this for my health. I'm doing this to make sure that I'm impacting everybody's life very positively. So if you're not asking questions, you're wasting your own time. This is your time, guys. Make sure that you're getting some value, getting some education, interacting, making sure that you're learning. So that's what I'm here for. So I'm just going to mark this up real quick. So what I will do is just for myself and anybody who's interested in Bitcoin, if broken, buys will continue. If respected, which I think it will be, we will hold off on investing and wait for a better op. And I'll just put op like that for opportunity. So all I'm doing is just understanding what this market could potentially give us in the future, because I do want to see what initially Bitcoin is going to be doing, because I know, including myself, a lot of individuals who are able to invest into Bitcoin before this big burst, and even before this big burst to the upside, was able to make a lot of money. So I want to be able to do the same thing with you guys, or anybody for that matter. So if we could reach these areas, again, these investment ranges will be extremely profitable, because obviously the risk to reward will be much more in our favor. So big investment range. So just marking this up real quick before we get started, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And again, I was just looking at this, but yeah, questions, comments, any specific markets you guys want to take a look at. I got nothing from you guys in the comments, so it seems like you guys are just paying attention and listening, which is cool. I just want to make sure I'm speaking on some relevance. If not, I'll take a look at gold. Doesn't seem like anything so far. All right, let me go take a look at gold real quick. So I'm taking a look at gold because, one, this is my favorite market to actually trade, or one of my favorite markets to trade, and it's a market that you have to understand if you're trading Forex, especially when you're trading US cross pairs, because gold will give you a strong idea of what those US cross pairs will in fact be doing. And I was hoping that this developed a little bit differently, but it actually did give us something on the weekly. Now, I'm always going to scale off the higher time frames. I had somebody ask me or say yesterday or one of these sessions like, yo, you're always on the 1 hour. I'm not. I understand what the overall time or the overall market is doing by going on the higher time frame and then determining my detailed work on the smaller time frame. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm looking at this as a level of structure, right? Now, when we scale down to a daily time frame, you'll be able to see it matching this structure just a little bit more or a little bit easier. But if we look left to get right, that's all within that price range. I'm just going to make my zone on the weekly a little bit bigger. I know I don't normally do or have my zones this big, but I'll do it just for now. Because what we're looking at is this price point being respected. If you can't see what I'm talking about, is let's move in a little bit. To get specific on your price, to identify structure accurately, you need to see the actions that were made there multiple times, right? So we had respect here. I'll even replay this so you can see it. There was respect there. You can see the market broke above, and it was used as a level of support. That level of support is important because that will dictate future trades or potential future trades. Let's speed this up to 10. So we'll do this. And you can see it broke below. And as it broke below, we had a level of respect there for a bit, and then it crashed lower. And if we continue to let this market play out, you can see the amount of respect that this price, this structure here, held. That's important because a lot of people are always like, well, you're just trading off support resistance. Absolutely not. I'm identifying the most relevant level of price and the actions that proceed within it, because those actions will then determine what the next potential move is. So if I get rid of this, because we already know where the market is or have seen it, we know the market has came right back to this point and has given it its respect. How can we determine that? Good question. Let me answer that. So you can see right here, this candlestick right there. This is on the weekly time frame, right? So this means it took an entire week for one candle to close. This candle being a weekly candlestick, giving us a wick to the upside, which is a level of rejection. Let's write that down. Wicks equal rejection. So if I know that wicks equal rejection at a level of structure, again, this is price action trading. What's good, YouTube Pro? This is price action trading. I'm identifying the most significant level of price, i.e. resistance. We'll just keep it simple. And the actions that proceed within them. One of the actions I am seeing is this rejective candle. and obviously not just a rejective candle, but a bearish engulfing candle at that. If we scale down, because now we're on the weekly, we now need to use other time frames to understand even further in greater detail. When I scale down to the daily, we can see, not too much, but you can see two successive bearish engulfing candles. If I'm correct, there we go. I don't think, that might be the trend line that I was using. I think I did this on the 4-hour time frame, but I'll do it here on the daily. There is a bullish trend line that is also in the mix. You can see the connective points, this being your base, your secondary, and your trigger. You have 3 touches of your trend line. The trigger is when you pull the trigger, when you are now executing your buy trade, obviously alongside with further confluence. But what are we looking at? A very strong idea. So not only do we have wicks of rejection, I'll make this zone a little bit different. So we know that this is daily structure, right? So we put weekly structure rather. So what are some other actions that I can identify at this level? So we have weekly structure. We've identified the most relevant level of price. We now need to identify the actions that come within this price. Does anyone see what I see? We are at a level of weekly resistance or weekly structure. We can then see the rejective move off of there. But are there other forms or other patterns or other confirmations that I could identify that will show me that this market is in fact a continued sell, right? And we have to understand a few factors on this, because if anybody sees what I see, we'll have to determine 2 potential re-entry sells, right? Because I do think gold is a sell. Somebody said break and retest. Are you speaking of the trend line? Because if you're speaking of the trend line of a break and retest, you are absolutely correct. So give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a gold star. We do have a break and retest. What else do we have? What are some other confirmations that we have that can show us that bear markets are coming in? Double top. There you go. We do in fact have that double top. So we have weekly structure and we have a double top in the mix. You were here in yesterday's session, weren't you? So we do have, in fact, a double top, which is a bearish reversal pattern. In case anybody does not know, or my man Jerome, there you go, double top. In case anybody is unaware, you have a level of structure, let's just say resistance. So you're at a level of resistance. When you're at a level of resistance and you see the market do this, or in fact, you see the market creating higher highs, higher lows, until it doesn't. It reaches a specific resistance, and then you would expect it to break above, to create a new higher high and continue being bullish, but you don't. You come right back to that level of structure, and you respect it. This high does not go above this high as well, and you could see this happening. Once you see a double top breaking that middle piece, and I know I do this every session, but repetition is key. Once you see market structure being broken, no longer are you getting higher highs and higher lows. You're now getting lower highs and lower lows. What you would like to do is get a retest off of that level of structure that was broken. Now, that's not always the case, because obviously the market is not going to be perfect. It's not going to listen to us all the time. But if I can, in fact, identify a re-entry from there, then you have a case, or not just a re-entry, but you have a case for an entry at that area. What are we looking at? Almost the same thing, right? Now, we do have this trend line in the mix, so I'm leaving that for now, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it cannot be broken back to the upside for this level of structure to then be met and respected. Now, this would be the entire zone, because as you see, there's a lot of price being played with in that area, but I don't like my zones that big. I'm just going to be specific and have it there. Now, we can, in fact, use a Fibonacci retracement ratio during this time. My man Jerome retests a broken middle point. Exactly like I said. Right, so let me see. We take our fib, swing high, swing low. What we're doing is we're getting a strong idea of what gold is going to be doing, so that way we could place potential entries. Now, I know yesterday we did place a very risky buy. Our stop losses were barely hit. They almost got hit. I'm still currently in that, but it should be leading back into profits. And I think with this current analysis, we might actually be seeing a very good buy setting up even for today. So we might get some re-entries on this. But what we're looking at is, after this break of structure and our trend line, that is a strong confirmation that sellers are still very much within this market, or in fact taking over, because we know that gold was very much bullish. So if I can see a break of a structure, a double top at a significant level of structure, the break of a trend line, we can see the impulsive move here with no correction. That's a great thing to see. If we don't have a correction on gold as of yet, that means that there is an opportunity for a counter trend trade. If you don't know what that means, it is exactly what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Counter trend trade. We can make trading very easy, or you can make it hard, right? What is a trend line? It is simply a line showing you the trend and direction of the market. That's why I'm so confused as to when people say, is the market up or down? Draw a trend line. Look at it, because these simple little tools will in fact dictate so much for us. So not only do we have a break of the structure and the trend line, we're kind of retesting that trend line now, right? I don't think that this trend line will hold as far as a significant retest for this market. I'm going to delete it and now start marking up new analysis. Not new analysis, basically the same, but what I'm going to identify is this being my level of structure, right in between the 38.2 and that 50% retrace ratio. Now, before I continue, if anybody's going to ask me, Jay, what fib ratio should I always enter off of or pay attention to mostly? You look at them all, because wherever confluence is made, meaning that you have multiple ideas of a trade. So let's say the market reaches back here, reaches our sell zone, our structure. And let's say we have a trend line in the mix. And then let's also say we have that 50%, any ratio, but let's just say for educational purposes, we have that 50% retrace ratio in the mix as well. There is a lot of confluence that will dictate a potential sell move. What are those things? The structure being respected, the break and the retest of the structure, the idea that a new trend line might be forming as well, because it's not confirmed after 2 touches. You have to have a 3rd touch, but this could be the catalyst and start of it. The structure, the trend line, and the fib. Right? When you have those put together, your last needed confirmation is, guess what, guys? Your candlestick patterns. So if we start to see characteristics or bearish characteristics in our candlesticks, that's like a tongue twister to say, then we can start identifying potential sells from that point. But what does that mean overall? Because I know a lot of you guys are like, but if you can't sell it now, why the fuck are you talking about it? I only care about profits, Jay, and entries. Got you. If we know that right now we're on a higher time frame, the daily time frame, this is a impulsive move, what's going to be left? That initial correction. So if we can identify that this is now probably, and I can't sit back and say, oh, for sure, 100%, this is a corrective market, because the market will do whatever it wants. But even looking left to get a little right, there's some structure over here. If I scale down to the 4, I might be a little bit easier to see, right? You see how this, or why we use multiple time frames? You can't necessarily, now replay this. On the smaller or the higher time frame, you won't be able to see this being a level of structure. But when we replay and see how it reacted, we can see the market coming up, rejecting off of it, and then breaking through. That breakthrough, or that break above, confirms buyers are now in control, or still in control. That retest that's about to happen, being respected, confirms that level of structure being valid for potential buys. Let me speed this up a little bit. Hurry up. Oh, I guess it didn't retest immediately. I thought it came right back down, so I'll just get rid of that. But now we're getting that initial retest or test of that structure point. We can see this being valid. Why is that important? Because if we can see that the market right now is in fact at a level of significant structure after a strong impulsive move, we can identify the corrective move leading into our sell zone. Why is that important? Because we could then look for that counter trend trade move. We can look for buys leading into our sell zone, right? That is why it's important that we scale from the higher time frame, understand the overall market, so that way we can get our detailed and very accurate idea when we scale down to a smaller time frame, right? Because you can't see these smaller moves on the daily or on the weekly, or you can't see those other forms of structure that could be relevant to your potential trade if you only use one time frame. But right now, I might, and it might be on the session depending, on how this news comes out, because we have, oh, I forgot, we won't even be able to look at this at 12. I don't know why I thought it was at 8:30, but we do have U.S. news coming out later. The Fed speak, so it won't have a lot of volatility leading into that. But for me, for anybody who placed your buys from yesterday's session, if I'm correct, it was somewhere over here. If I'm correct, it was over here. We are right back at our initial entries. Our stop loss was just below these lows. So our stop loss, we were in drawdown for a little bit, probably still in a little bit of drawdown. But I do hope that with the news that comes out, we will be getting some bullish volatility based off the analysis that we currently have. Now, does that mean go ahead and start buying gold to the moon and with standard and 10 standard lot sizes right now? Absolutely not. Do not even place an entry if you don't want to risk it. But I'm just going over gold because I didn't get any questions. Nobody told me anything that you needed. So I just wanted to make sure I started this off with something amazing. So I still think that gold will give us our bullish move. I'm hoping, but we have to wait for news to give us that. So we have Canadian news and we have U.S. news a little bit later. So with the lack of volatility in our markets, we won't be able to trade anything as of yet. But hopefully when the news comes out, that is the catalyst that we need for this to give us some better movement. But yeah, good morning, everybody. I see a lot more people on. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. If you have any specific markets you would like to for me to take a look at, let me know. Don't just say Euro-JPY. Like, let me know the market, let me know the pair, and what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Because the majority of the time when people ask me, oh yeah, look at gold, it's just because they're in a trade or they want to know whether they're buying or selling. You have to understand that when you jump onto a session or you ask a question, you say, is gold buying or selling? That's not doing anything for you at all, ever. Because what is that? What question is that answering? You want to make sure you ask a very specific question that'll actually help you. So if you guys have anything, feel free to let me know. If there's any specific markets you want me to take a look at, give me that market and the reasoning on why we are looking at it. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? So that way I speak on relevance. But YouTube Pro double top and trend line break. Yeah, that's what I said before, and somebody here said it too. You know, I mean, if you check the comments, you'll be able to see and interact with other people, and you'll be able to, you know, get some good knowledge even from the comments, because I know, like my man, good morning, Scott. What's up, bro? Like my man Jerome, Uncle Mar. I have a few other, like my man. I have another dude named Rome, where he's a savage. He was a previous student. I told him a little bit. My man said, "Let me pass this prop firm challenge," and I've never seen him since, which is good. That's the whole point of why I was teaching in the first place, to make sure that people are learning, so that way they can become self-sufficient. So what I will be looking for on gold is buys, hopefully, again, because news can come out, just like we saw last week with NFP. I was looking for potential buys up here, didn't buy it, and next thing you know, the market said I'm out. But if we can get that same concept, if we can get volatility during news, I'm hoping that we can get gold to buy. Now, I'm not saying buy now, please do not, but hopefully we get something like that. I'm looking at about a 400 pip move. And if you're wondering why specifically a 400 pip move, is because the take profit will be at the last most relevant and significant level of structure, right? Again, if we look left to get right, that's still within the price point of our 38.2 and our 50% retrace ratio. So if anything, I will be able to let you guys know what gold will be doing. If you are in our Discord, you'll be able to stay on top of that, be updated. If you are not a part of our Discord, go into the description below. Our link to the Discord is there, and you'll be able to stay updated with any and all moves that I currently make. So yeah, that's my idea with gold. If anything, let me get rid of that before people start thinking that we just placed an entry on it. We did not, but I'm hoping this to be our sell kill zone. So I will be looking for that counter trend trade where I am looking to place a buy in a seller's market. Everything I'm saying is pretty self-explanatory. Counter trend trade move. So if in fact I start seeing this develop a little bit better even while we're on, if I want to take the risk, if you guys want to even take the risk, we might go ahead and place that trade while we're on, just to identify some potential profits. I was looking at a few other charts. Let me see what GBP CAD is giving us. Oh, that didn't even come back. Okay, so I was looking at GBP CAD to give us a potential re-entry on this. This is a trade that we placed, if I'm correct, on last Friday during NFP. I wanted to see if this actually did come back up to our retest point, and it did not. So I was either looking for an aggressive sell from here, or even a more conservative sell from there. Now, I was able to actually get this, if I'm correct. Let me see if I'm lying, because I could have closed that by now. What I'm doing right now is I'm actually just checking to see. Okay, yeah. So I placed this in our auto trader for our students. It was really risky for me to even place a sell at a low point. As you see, our entry was right here. But I wanted to see if there was going to be a potential re-entry for you guys, to see if there was going to be a better risk to reward on that. But I don't think that's the case anymore. So if anything, let's remark this up to see if there's any potential re-entries on this for the future. So all I'm doing is I'm keeping the trend line. I'm going to now identify. I mean, very simple. And I know a lot of you guys are probably going to be like, really? I mean, that's it? Yeah, that's it. The majority of my trades are based off of just simple tactics. We can, on this time frame, and the reason why I'm saying that is because, again, a lot of individuals have asked me, why are you always on the 1 hour time frame? You don't have to scale to such a giant time frame like the weekly or the daily if you already understand what you're looking at. I know that we have broken below this previous low, a very significant low at that, a daily time frame low. We can see that this market is very bearish. So in my opinion, if I see a market that's extremely bearish, breaking support ranges, I'm not going to be looking for any type of buys, but I also can't be looking for any entries off of this time frame. We can't see the needed structure or the needed detail for us to get an accurate entry. But when we start scaling down to smaller time frames, it looks a little bit more clear. On the 4 hour, you can see it. On the 1 hour, maybe a little bit better, at least for this situation. I'm marking this up. Yes, I know there is a wick below, but the body of that candle did not close below, so I'm marking it there. I'm speaking on this candle here. So if I go ahead and scale back down to the 1 hour time frame, does that look a little bit more clear for you? This will be our new sell zone. Nothing complicated, right? All I am doing is using the market or the clues that the market is leaving behind. That is it. I can see that this level of previous structure was broken. Again, this is part of that daily level of structure. So since that is broken, let's actually write that down. Daily structure, I'll put daily level is broken. Confirming sellers are still in control. We wait for a retest of this broken structure. Now, for anybody who's like, okay, so we immediately place a sell when it reaches there. Absolutely not. Once we reach, or if, because obviously didn't even reach my previous sell point up here, if and when this can reach back up to this sell point, let me try to get this clean. There we go. Get rid of this up here. If this can reach back up to our sell zone, this level of previous structure, also we have this very valid trend line. This can also just retrace, correct? Come back up to level of structure, retest that trend line, and also have our Fibonacci retracement tool in the mix. We're going to go from swing high to swing low. And now, does that make more sense? You see how everything is more clear when you mark it up in a very simple manner? And I'm going to do this again so everyone can see what I did and the reasoning behind it. So I'm going to get rid of everything. This looks complicated to some. I know. I know when you jump onto a chart, you're like, well, is it time to buy since it's been selling? No. If you see a market creating lower lows and lower highs, and especially after a break of such a significant structure on a higher time frame, don't think this is going to buy. It is not. It will correct. You will get those, bullish moves in a bearish market. But the overall idea is this will continue to push much lower. So again, I'm understanding the overall direction of the market. It is bearish. I want to identify now bearish moves. Where would I like to sell from again? Because obviously this is not going to be bearish or bullish anytime soon. I am drawing a trend line. The trend line is a very self-explanatory thing. It is a line showing you the trend of the market, and not just the trend, but the angle that the market is respecting. And when I mean angle, I really mean like right, obtuse, acute. If you were, in math class, you understood the protractor and the angles, a 90-degree angle, 180-degree angle, that is still very relevant within the market. There is a such thing called market geometry. I personally do not know anything about it. But when I draw this trend line, you can see that even TradingView gives you a protractor tool on there. And if I move it and adjust it, you can see the angles of that market adjusting as well. Is that relevant to our trading? Absolutely not. I'm just showing you that for extra nuggets in case anybody wants to go ahead and start opening up that Pandora's box of learning market geometry or why angles are, used with our trend lines. Me personally, has no relevance to me, but what it does dictate is the market is respecting a very specific area and angle within its trend. That is important because if you can connect 3 points, this is our base, the start. This is our secondary, very self-explanatory, the second touch, and this is our trigger. Our trigger is the third touch. The trigger is where you're pulling the trigger on your trade, where you are looking for further confluence to identify an entry. And in case anybody didn't know, this is exactly why last Friday we were able to place this trade and get 200 pips in profit almost instantly. This was our trade setup. We entered there. Next thing you know, I'm teaching. Somebody said GCAT hit take profits. Oh, that was 100 pips. I don't know why I thought it was 200. So about 100 pip take profit hit instantly. And you can see there's not much on this chart that needs to be done in order to identify that entry. All you're doing is, one, knowing the direction of the market, the trend. It is bearish. 50% of your work there is done once you understand the true direction. All you need to do now is understand where would you like to get in next. Where is it going to sell from? Again, identify the most relevant level of price and the actions that proceeded through it. Actions are, well, there was a level of respect until it got broken through and retested. That retest is an action. The other action is the retest or the test of that trend line. Another test or action is the respect of that 61.8 fib ratio. We're going to do the same thing we just did here for this entry down here. Nothing different. We're going to be able to identify everything very easily with just support, resistance, trend lines, fibs. And if you're like, that's a lot, I promise you it's not. So all we're going to do is redo our analysis here. We're going to mark this up. And again, I'm just showing you the steps on what I'm doing to identify a potential trade opportunity. I've understood the overall market. I see it creating lower lows, lower highs. I can see it's very much in a bearish market. So I'm only at this point looking for sells, because the question I always get is, yo, Jay, let me show you something. Let me check this out. Yo, my RSI says it's extremely oversold, bro. It's time for a reversal. It's time to buy this bit. No, it's not. I promise you. A market is moving in the direction because that's where the money is going. It's not just going to stop because of an indicator. It's going to continue to push much lower. Understand that. A trending market will continue. Don't look for reversals. That is a mistake I see a lot of people making. A lot of us want to do this. We want to find a resistance point. We want to find that best area so that way we could place our entry with a standard lot size with a $20 account. Get that perfect wick entry. And I'm joking about that. I just say that because everybody over leverages with small accounts for no reason. But you can see here, let's say you want to sell from that point and you're such in a strong bullish market, you might get something like that, but then the market continues, right? You never want to go against the trend unless the market is telling you to do so. If not, you continue with the market direction. We can even add, if I'm correct, let me see if this works. We can even add what is considered a inner trend line. It's following more alongside this side of the trend as well. Both trend lines, very accurate, could still be used, right? Because we have one touch here. I'll zoom in so you guys can see. You have one touch here, 2, and now 3, which validates even this angle. So we can even add this to our new analysis, because let's say this trend line here is never met, but we actually identify this current one, a more aggressive trend line, and that is respected alongside confluence even here. We have even further ideas for entry. So this being my sell kill zone, again, just marking this up so everyone has an idea of how to mark up, why to mark up, what time frames, and how to use these tools as well. But what's good, everybody? No questions, no comments. Everybody Gucci in the chat. Is anyone confused? What questions do you guys have? What markets would you guys like for me to take a look at? Because I'm done with GBP CAD. Nothing else needs to be done. I think a lot of us always think that we have to have 1,000,001 things in our chart for us to place a accurate trade or to find an entry, and you do not. It's all about simplicity. So swing high, swing low, and again, sell kill zone. Even a little bit better because we have that trend line respecting this more aggressive downwards move. Try to make that perfect. There we go. And in case anybody's wondering, yes, you can in fact cut through the wicks of a candle with your trend line. You cannot cut through the body of a candle with a trend line. So if your trend line looks like this and you're cut through all the candles, that's obviously wrong. But if you cut through the wicks of the candle, that is absolutely fine, because that means that the market tried to break above but couldn't and respected that part. So this will be my new sell zone for GBP CAD. If in fact there is a trade setup and my students have more than 2 to 3 trades, I'll be sure to send it to you guys. But obviously, if my students only get 1 trade a day, obviously because the market is not going to be giving you 20 to 30 entries, you know what I mean? But if they get multiple signals for the day, I'll go ahead and share this with you guys as well. Because I know a lot of you guys are actually still in GCAD. I know some of you guys have sent me your profits. Somebody placed a standard up here. I mean, I don't know how much they had in their account, but that's a pretty decent setup. That's about almost $3,000 for their trade, so not too bad. All right, like I said before, if you're going to give me a chart, if you're going to say, what market you want me to take a look at, let me know what you're trying to accomplish. Why do you want me to take a look at AUD/JPY, Emmanuel? What is the question behind it? What are you trying to accomplish? What is it that you want to see with AUD/JPY? What is your question with that initial market? And if you say, is it up or down, I'm not going to answer it. I'm just being very serious because I'm here to teach. And you're not going to get any information by asking, is it bullish or bearish? So what is it that you want to understand with AUD/JPY? I'll take a look at it. I'll give you the needed information and education and value. But I just want to make sure I'm speaking on relevance and helping you guys out to the best of my abilities. But I think GBP CAD is going to be our next best potential setup. So let me actually, do I not have that here? I do not. Let me add this to my list real quick. And then, there we go. And I'll keep that on the radar for us, so that way it never goes away. I don't forget about it, because if there is an entry here, I definitely want to look at it. And this would look like our trade setup. So I would have our entries there. Our stop loss would be right above these highs, just above. So I'll put about 45. And then my take profit, your first take profit is going to be here. So the risk reward somewhat there, because you have a 63 pip take profit and a 45 pip stop loss. But that's just the first target, right? Because obviously it can break down much, much lower. So I'm just going to mark this up so that way you guys can understand everything fully. Targets 1. I hate when I press caps by accident. Targets 1. And then obviously, let me actually write that down. If broken, continue to hold. Very simple. Don't overcomplicate anything you do within your trading, because once you do, everything is just, you're not going to understand anything. Like, you're going to be, I see a lot of strategies. I see people, what is it, ICM trading, or smart money concepts and market maker theory. When all those strategies, any strategy that you really look at, revolves around price action. So if you keep it simple, understand just these concepts, you're profitable. So yeah, Emmanuel, let me know what you want to look with AUD/JPY, and I'll take a look at it. But again, I'm not going to answer questions of just like AUD/JPY and then that's it. I want to make sure that I'm speaking on relevance, and I want to make sure there's a few reasons for it too. Like, a lot of people ask me, Jay, I'm in a trade on this. Can you take a look at it? No, I cannot. The reason being is because you need to build your own confidence. You need to get that psychological aspect and grow from there, right? If you have a trade, if you place a trade and you placed it, if you place that, you have to be confident. There's a reasoning behind the idea of your trade. Can I analyze it for you? But why though? Like, what are you trying to get from it? Because there's nothing here. That's my question. If I do the analysis for you, you're not going to get anything from it unless you know exactly what you're looking for. Like, are you looking for a trade? Do you not know what's going on? But this is my thing. There has to be a reasoning on why you're looking at AUD/JPY. What is the reasoning? Because as of right now, I really don't see anything. I mean, you can see that it's bearish. You can see that it's very much selling. Right? That, I mean, you guys could be able, you guys could do this yourselves. Like, and I don't mean to say that disrespectfully. I mean this in the true sense. Emmanuel, Look at it. So tell me right now what you can see with AUDJPY. I'm going to help you understand this. I'm going to help you grow. So that way, when you jump onto a chart, you don't need to have anybody do the analysis for you. What can you see? You're gonna give me the analysis. You're gonna walk me through this. You're gonna tell me what you see, and then I'll correct you if you're wrong. If you're right, then you don't need to ask that question again. And the reason why I say that is, again, to build your confidence. Nobody has done this with me. I guarantee nobody has done this with you, or anybody for that matter that's on here. Nobody's gonna say what analysis can you see, and then correct you from it if you need correction. Because a lot of the time, I get questions, and you guys are right. It seems like you guys are even better at trading than me. There's sometimes where students send me markups. I'm like, damn, that's sexy. That's a really good markup. It's the confidence, the lack of, rather, that we sometimes suffer with. So I want to make sure that you're not in that same boat and that you know what you're doing, because if you do, I got to let you know so that way you continue being great. All right, so you see a sell. Why? What do you see? Why is it a sell? Is it because it's already in a seller's market? Is it already because it's bearish? Is it showing you the respect of your trend lines and everything? Is it showing you the respect of structure? Like, mark it up. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't need analysis from somebody else if you've actually done it yourself. And that, again, not to sound rude or disrespectful, it's to motivate you guys to understand that you have to do this yourself as well. Because once you start marking it up, even if you're wrong, let's say you're like, all right, I'm looking for buys, right? Let's say you're looking for buys, but you say, I'm looking for buys from down here. Are you going to go ahead and buy from here? Absolutely not. You could be wrong on the buys from here, but you're not wrong in the aspect of identifying or marking up that idea. And then you say, well, I'm not going to sell until I reach that point. You're absolutely correct, right? If you identify everything within your chart, it'll make a lot more sense. But a lot of the time when people ask me, can you give me analysis, is because they haven't even tried. So I want you to try. And again, not to sound rude, not to sound disrespectful, but it is so that way you can grow and learn. If you just ask me, give me analysis, you ain't gonna learn shit from it. Just being real. So my idea with AUDJPY is, yeah, it's definitely, in my opinion, going to be a continued sell. Now, does that mean you go ahead and place your sells right now? No, you do not. You identify what the market is giving you and leaving behind, and then execute. You identify where the best sell opportunities will be. I'm not going to tell you that because I would like for you to find that. You already answered your own question. You don't need to do much analysis if you know the direction of the market. I mean, you still need to do analysis, but if you understand that, okay, right now, AUDJPY is looking like a sell. Okay. You've answered your own question, Emmanuel. Now all you need to do is, and I will do this a little bit later, but I would like for you to do me two things. One, join our Discord, because you'll be able to drop your charts. And that's the second thing. I want you to mark up your chart, Emmanuel, and post your markup in our Discord so that way I can see any corrections that you need to make. And also the reason why I'm doing that is to make sure that, and to show you that if you know what you're doing, you'll be able to see it exactly, right? So if you have not jumped onto AUDJPY, if you're just looking for analysis, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. You need to be asking better questions. How do you do this? Why is that? Not give me analysis. You have to do it yourself. Again, this is going to help you. I'm not trying to be rude, but this is going to help you in the long run. I fucking wish somebody was doing that with me. I wish from the beginning of my trade career, somebody was like, nah, you got to do it yourself. You got to mark it up yourself, because you see what you know what you're looking for. You need to now build that confidence. Once you build that confidence, everything becomes a lot more easier. Because I entered a sell at 92.5, holding it. See, I knew it. Everybody's always placing, they place a trade, they just want that confirmation. Let me explain something to you, Emmanuel. You said you placed, and this is going to help your confidence, and I'm not going to go over this because you're right. You placed at 92. You said you placed a sell at 92.5. How are you asking me about AUDJPY? You place a sell all the way up here, right? Don't ask me a question if you're already in profit. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not to sound disrespectful, but look at it. Why are you going to ask a question or need analysis on AUDJPY if you already if you're already in profits? You know you're right. You know that you are correct. If you know you are correct, then you don't need to do anything else. Move on. You know what I mean? Like, you place a trade from all the way over here, 92.5. Okay, what is your question? That's the thing. Like, I don't want to answer questions or have questions being asked if you're already in a trade, and especially if you're already in profit. What else do you need to know? You're right. You're absolutely right. You know what I mean? It's like, and this is probably a bad analogy, but let's say you get into an argument with your girl, your significant other, right? You get into an argument with your significant other. You win that argument, but you just keep going. You just keep nitpicking, and then it's just going to make it worse. No. Once you place a trade and you are in profits and you are correct, walk away, because there's a few things that happen. You're going to either second guess. You're going to look at it like, oh no, it's going against me. Because if you're all the way up here and you're in profits there, and you're like, but it's reversing on me. No, it's not. It's so far away from your entry. You're good. You are absolutely fine. If you are in sells on AUDJPY, you know you're absolutely correct. So let me see what else you guys got. Let me see if I can help somebody. I remember when I first started and asked about gold buy, and Jay refused to look at it and made me send a markup. I was offended then, but the confidence was the start of the beginning profitable. That was the beginning of the pain. I'm sorry if you felt offended. I know I sound crazy because I'm from New York. Everything we say sounds crazy, but it's not. I promise you, it's not a rude. It's not rude. It's not something that I'm trying to be mean with. I'm saying it, and I do that because I know it works. Because I personally have been doing the same thing. Everything I'm doing now, trend lines, fibs, structure, candles, since day one. Everything I do now has been the same for about 8 years. The only difference is my confidence. Because I know that it works in the sense of marking up your chart in the way that I have it, right? I never had somebody say, oh shit, you know exactly what you're doing. Once I had somebody tell me that, my confidence boosted. So if my man Emmanuel showed me a markup on the reasoning on why he entered that market from there, perfect entry by the way, and has been holding and is in profits, and he doesn't know that he's been right the entire time, and I say, oh shit, no, you're right, that will build the confidence where you're like, oh, well, I don't need to ask the analysis on it because everything I've been doing since day one or since recently is working. It is correct. So let me continue doing that. And then what ends up happening is you start placing your trades, because how many times have we been on the market, we look for trades, we don't place it because we're not too sure about our analysis, and then we come back and that would have been a perfect entry, we should have entered it, and then you're kicking yourself in the ass because you didn't place it. That's where this is coming from. Everybody has to be confident with their own analysis and their own idea, because if not, you're not going to be able to place those trades. So I promise you, it's not me being rude or mean. It's to help you as an individual grow. The mentality, the psychological aspect within trading is extremely real. So that's exactly why I'm such an advocate of don't ask me about analysis, ask me a legitimate question, especially if you place a trade and you're hundreds of pips in profit. You don't need an answer for that. You've answered your own question. And that's just me being real. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to tell you like that, except for, what's his name? Rajah Banks. Rajah Banks is, that man is real. He'll just be like, nah, fuck you. You know what I mean? I would never do that. But in the sense of like actual value, I promise you have to do that analysis. Let me see real quick. Yeah, Jay, let me see. Yeah, you just brought back my confidence. That's a real teacher. I'm joining the Discord. My mans. That's what I'd like to see. I've been speaking in this tone since IML. Yeah, they got mad at me one time when I was teaching in IML because I had told somebody, I was like, go do the fucking work. I was like, do the work, bro. Because once you do the work, it'll all make sense. And that person came back. They did the work and they made $20,000 off their own analysis. That's where that stems from. That's why I always tell you guys, do the work, do the analysis, even if you're wrong. You will learn from your mistakes. You'll say, oh, well, like for instance, if somebody was to mark up their fib like this and be like, wait, that doesn't look right. At least you understood that you marked it up and you knew it's wrong, and then you make your correction. That alone gives you so much confidence in your own trading. So yeah, just trying to help you guys grow. But AUDJPY, if you're already in profits, you've already answered your own question. Again, not to sound rude, but just being real. All right, so let me see what else. I don't want to really look at any US cross pairs for right now, only because there's so much, or not so much, but we do have news leading into it later. So we do need to be careful with the analysis of our US cross pairs. But any other questions, any other markets you guys want to take a look at? And Emmanuel, feel free to send your markup in our Discord. If you go to the legacy chat, you'll be able to send all your markups here. We're always, well, not always, I'm trying to get everybody lively in the Discord, but you can post your analysis, your thoughts. Even if you have any trade signals that you personally would like to share, go ahead, share them with our community. So you'll always be able to get a ton of information, ton of knowledge, and any of your answers or any of your questions answered. So if you show me your analysis, we'll be able to go over it. And even if you want to just send the link in there, I'll pull it up on here and go over it from there as well. But yeah, So far, AUD/JPY, I do believe it will continue to sell. So let's see. Let me actually just draw this out. So I know I'm on a small time frame being the 1 hour and I'm drawing a counter trend line, but that's still very much accurate. So yeah, if you're in profits, you know you're correct. That is something you always have to take into consideration. If you are in profits, don't ask anybody, because what if I was like, nah, bruh, that's definitely a buy. You'll cancel your sells and then you'll start buying, and then, you know what I mean, what if it keeps selling? So you always want to trust your analysis over everything. Now, as I say that, I'm liking Euro GBP really quick. So I don't see any questions or comments, anything right now, so we'll go over Euro GBP. If you guys have any questions, if you are confused on something, if you need help with something, ask. I'm here to help. So let me see some real quick. So I might actually go ahead and look for sells here on Euro GBP. So let me scale out to a higher time frame, see what we're initially looking at. Ooh, I do like this actually. So it didn't reach the extreme highs up here, did it? Almost met those extreme highs. So even though, and I'm looking at this level of structure here, right? Just looking at this level of structure here. Now, this would be the entire zone because of that wick up here. Do you see why I don't have my zones that big? I still see people doing that shit. I'm like, don't ever do that, because when you scale to a smaller time frame, everything's going to be blue. But I'm going to cheat because we can see where the market actually respected. So I'm going to make my zone right there. We're going to cheat a little bit. And I'm going to mark this up as significant structure. And I'm on the daily time frame. Again, I'm always going to scale or start on a higher time frame. The higher the time frame, the stronger that confluence will be. So let me go ahead and say, I was going to say, literally type out exactly what I was saying. Strong resistance. And I'll put daily. So since we are at a level of strong resistance, strong structure, price, we are at a level of price. We need to now identify actions that will determine the fact that, okay, this resistance is either going to be respected or buyers are still very much in control, and we should look for this to be broken to the upside and a continued buy. Now I'm going to just draw, or mark up rather, not draw. I'm going to put that level of structure here. Yes, I do know there's a little peak above. That is absolutely fine. What I am focused on is the amount of respect from previous history at that price point, right? You can see respect, even though it broke above a little bit, that's still a form of respect because it came crashing right back through. And you can see after it made its final decision to break above. If it broke above from that point, it just means that it's going to reach the next most significant price point, which we can see it did. Now, can we see a strong level of rejection on the daily time frame from here? No, not really. There's not too much on this time frame, rather, that is going to give us a strong indication. Even on the weekly, it's not going to give us a strong indication for any potential sells. But if we scale, use other time frames, it might, right? So when we scale to the 4 hour, you can see it a little bit. Can you see what I see? My man Jerome already on it. Can you see what I see? Because I definitely can. I can see what I see. I'm marking that right there. I'm just putting a little line right here. Actually, I'll get rid of this structure here so my chart doesn't look crazy. I'll leave that line so we know that we're at a level of daily and even weekly structure. This right here is now our 4 hour time frame level of structure. Each time frame has its own markup. Each time frame will have its own structure, its own trend lines, its own idea. But it all has to come, or not own idea. It comes with its own markup. But as long as it has the same idea as the daily, as the 2 hour, as the 1 hour, being that if we're at a level of resistance, we need the daily to show us that, or we need the daily time frame to show us a potential sell, which it is at a level of resistance. We need the 4 hour to now show us some details and some actions that will show us that it is in fact a sell. And what could be that one thing so far? That head and shoulders pattern. That is important. So I might actually go ahead and take profits on that GCAD trade and then start. You know what? I'm actually going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do this live with you guys. I'm going to sell Euro GBP. I'm going to put my stop losses just about 30 pips. And my take profit will be down there. So let me actually go ahead into our auto trader. and let me place this for our students. So I don't have anything on this or markups because obviously I don't mark up my chart on MT4. I do all my markups on the on TradingView. So all I'm going to do, as you guys can see, just so that way there's transparency. And I know it says demo up there. I just have this link to a demo account only for students in the auto trader. I have my live account set up on this as well. You can see here like Ultimate Trade Copier. So my trades are copied directly into students' accounts and obviously my live account as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and place that sell. So that way you guys can see full transparency that in fact I am placing this trade. So when I place it on here, it's attached to my live account over here as well. But yeah, Euro GBP sells. I'm going to have a 30 pip stop loss just for the time being and see how that works. You guys do not, I repeat, you do not have to place that trade. If you do not want to risk it, if you don't want to be in drawdown, because I personally would have liked to be up here a little bit with that trade. But I do think that right now, this head and shoulders pattern, if you guys can't see it, I'll draw it out. Left shoulder, head of the pattern, right shoulder. That is important. Why? This is how you identify entries, everybody. And you also see how I'm not going to the 5-minute or the 15-minute to identify this crate. You don't have to really do all that. Your entries are based off of your markups and the clues that the market leaves behind. It is not based off of a time frame. So right now, I'm simply placing my sell based off of the idea that we have respected a significant level of daily and even weekly structure. We have created a head and shoulders pattern. And with that head and shoulders pattern, your entry should come off the price of the actual resistance, which is the left shoulder price. So I personally do like this as a trade setup from this area. If you guys would like to place it, by all means, feel free to do so. If not, that is up to you. So I'm seeing if no, this will be the connection of our second, or the touch of our second, the second touch of our trend line rather. Obviously, the trend line could have been like this, but obviously that's not the case. I wanted to see if there was any more connective points, but we have right here. So the start of a potential bearish move. So what that means is, so that way you guys can see, where is it, right here? So if that is the case, let me go to GBP CAD really fast. Where is it? If Euro GBP, and this is just a nugget, this is called correlation. If Euro GBP, we're looking for sells on Euro GBP, right? That means that the pound dollar, GBP, the sterling, will, and not always, but it should give you the idea that the sterling, the pound, will gain value, which means that if that's the case, I might have to go ahead and take profits on GBP CAD because that might end up more bullish for students in our auto trader. So depending on how GBP or Euro GBP works, we'll be taking profits on GCAD and then go from there. But yeah, just explaining a few things. I don't have any questions, so I'm just marking up charts, seeing if there's any opportunities and trades for you guys for money. But yeah, any questions, any other markets you guys want to take a look at, feel free to let me know. Definitely want to make sure that I'm helping and assisting to the best of my abilities. If not, yeah, I'll see if there's anything else. I don't think there's any. Okay, I just want to make sure there's any pound or euro news that could be affecting this potential trade. If this does reach back up here, I'll even write this out. If reached again, look for second sell entry. Meaning that, let's say we end up in some drawdown, which we kind of are in a little bit. Let's say we do this. It comes back up to that level of structure. I'll just go ahead and place a second entry. Not go ahead, but I'll see if there's confirmation for it. Obviously, if this trend line is broken, I don't care because it's not even validated. I just get rid of it if it's broken and just change my analysis around a little bit. But I do like the way that this is currently looking for potential sells. So let me see if this is in fact, okay, yeah, that did hit 38.2. So we have to measure our fib from this swing high to this swing low. Yeah, I do like that a lot. So we have the respect to the 61.8. If I make my zone within that point between the 71.1 and the 618, we have a lot of confluence. We have a lot of pressure to the downside here. So I am currently liking the way Euro GBP is looking for our potential sell. So yeah, any questions, anything you guys got for me, feel free to let me know. I want to make sure that I'm speaking on relevance and really helping you guys out to the best of my abilities. And real quick, if you guys have learned anything on this call or any call If you were able to make profits, if you were able to make, some real steady strides in the progression of your trading career, please do me a favor. Like this video. It helps, right? I really want to grow this community through transparency and actual value. Whether we win or lose, I want to make sure that you guys are understanding each and every spectrum of it. So if you guys can like this video, so that way we can grow our community, really expand and help other people in such a positive manner, that will be absolutely appreciated. I can't extend my gratitude enough to you guys, because in such a short amount of time, we've been able to grow this community into something very great. A lot more people have been, chatting. A lot more people have been hitting me up. A lot more people have been trading. So I really want to make sure we expand that way. And the only way that can happen is if you like the video. And that's not even me being funny. I really do mean that. The likes have been helping. We've been growing, so I definitely appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, also subscribe. Make sure that you turn on notifications, so that way you know any and everything that I do. So you're not late to any videos, not late to any live sessions. If you're not a part of the Discord, by all means be a part of that as well. So that way, if I do send any more trade signals, you guys can take advantage of that as well. If I'm correct, one of our last signals was pretty decent. This was gold from yesterday. Still hasn't hit stop losses, but it was very close. There it is. So we were able to sell, I think it was AUD-CHF, yes. So last week, AUD-CHF worked out beautifully for us. So let's see if there's any other trades that we can get into this week in the Discord for you guys for more profits as well. So definitely want to make sure you guys are on top of that. But I might go ahead and start looking for a second entry on Euro GBP, depending on how it reacts around this range. But yeah, any questions, anything you guys got for me, any other markets you guys want to take a look at, feel free to let me know in the chat below. I'll definitely take a look at it. If not, we'll conclude here in a little bit, only because I want to make sure that I'm being more detailed and looking for some trade setups for our auto trader, and to see if there is any actual potential signals as well. Let me go back to gold real quick. Okay, just chilling around there. Seems like, yeah, after NFP, a lot of these US cross pairs were just like, I'm out. Yeah, see, I don't even like US30. So even US30, a lot of these indices very choppy in a sense. The only one that I'm really looking at is SPX 500, because that has a potential entry. I was going to buy it yesterday, but thankfully I didn't. So this probably be the only other market that I find that might have another potential entry. So let's see how this works out. Now, I'll send this up to you guys in the Discord as far as the indices are concerned, because I do think there's a potential trade setup with this. And I'm just going over things. I'm just looking at random charts now, because I don't got any questions, no nothing. So just want to make sure that if there is anything else we can speak on, we can go ahead and do that. But I think this might be the only other market that I would really pay attention to. So let me do this. Strong buy zone if respected. Even though it has already somewhat been respected, I want to make sure that it's confirmed, because you can't just say, oh, it's respected and then buy. You have to let the market truly develop around an area for it to be confirmed. You don't want to just place a trade once it gets to your area. So that's very, very important. But yeah, doesn't seem like we got anything so far in the chat. Seems like everybody is good so far. Just taking a quick look at some stuff. Oh yeah, we did take profit, or not take profits. We move our stop loss to break even. I did tell students to take not take profits, to sell USD CAD, but I think our break evens may have been hit. I still kind of think that that's going to be a sell either way. So let's see how that works out for us as well. But yeah, seems like everybody's good so far. So let me see if there's anything else that we could potentially look at. Ooh, that did exactly what damn, I'm actually angry that I didn't place that trade. So I was actually looking for a sell on AUD-CHF, obviously because of structure, and you can see the trend line there as well. And that, I mean, I'll take that as a moral victory, but I was actually, I'm no joke, looking for entries around that area. I'm always going to be looking for entries where there's tons of confluence made, but we might actually have a different idea. So I was going to look to sell from there to here, because this might set up as an inverted head and shoulders pattern. So let's actually see how that reacts. But yeah. Any questions? Oh, AUD-JPY out. So let's see if there's anything else. Don't really see too much, honestly. Does seem as if yen pairs are going to continue to be more bearish, though. So let me go back to GBP CAD. See if we need to take profits on that. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take profits for students on GCAD. Because if it's, I mean, I will have a student say, yo, it's reversing. So before I get those messages, let me go ahead and close that out for everybody. So close out GCAD on our auto trader for profits. Our sells were based up here. It was not a technical standpoint, honestly. It was part of my strategy here of legacy line. So I can't give you the technical standpoint on it because there was no technical analysis on that. But yeah, any questions? Or let me just double check, make sure that we are good. All right, nobody in the chat so far, so it seems like you guys are good. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and conclude for today, unless you guys have anything for me so far. If not, I will be on the charts. I will be paying attention to see if there's any other trade opportunities for us to be placing. If not, I'll go ahead and just leave my markups. See if there's anything else that you guys might need throughout the day. I'll just start hitting up some legacy students or answering the message that students have been leaving behind. So I'll make sure that I respond to you guys. Trust me, I'm not ignoring you. I just have a ton of messages. So I will make sure that I get back to you guys. But yeah, anything so far? You guys got nothing for me today? Yesterday, everybody was like, yo, I need this, I need that. I got a question on that. But today, everybody seemed good. All right. So let me just go check Euro GBP. All right, still just chilling around that area, so not too bad. So yeah, if you guys don't got nothing for me today or anything further, we'll conclude for today. I will leave you guys with this. Understand that we do have US news and Canadian news. That will be strong. That will affect the US market and the Canadian market very strongly. So if you are doing your own individual trading, if you are looking at the US crosspairs and any Canadian crosspairs, do not place any trades with them as of yet. Let the news come out. Let it settle. Let them speak whatever they're going to say, because I think today's just speeches. Yeah. So the government speaks, Fed Powell speaks, and Malcolm speaks. So we have to allow them to finish whatever they're saying, let the market settle, and then you'll be able to find some pretty accurate entries from there. Again, that will give tons of volatility. So if you don't see volatility on things like gold or any US crosspair as of right now, that is okay. When the news comes out, then the markets will start reacting. Then we'll start seeing exactly where these want to go. We'll see if gold and the US, we'll see if the US crosspair wants to continue to be strong, making gold continue to sell and be in this bearish downtrend. Or if it's negative for the dollar, we'll actually start to see buys from this range on gold, and then we'll identify its next potential moves from there. But yeah, seems like you guys are good so far. I don't have any questions or anything. If you guys do not know how to get in contact with me, just go ahead on Facebook and type in Gbpjpy. I'm the first ugly guy that you see that will pop up with a red shirt and a stupid hat. That's me. So yeah, if you guys want to get in contact with me, whether on Facebook or best bet is probably Discord, this is your best bet, because I know some people were asking before. So yeah, with that being said, I don't have any questions or comments so far. I will say that I appreciate every last one of you guys for being on. I know that we have been having a lot of continued viewers. For the individuals who have been on pretty much every day, thank you so much. I can't express that enough. It definitely motivates me to continue to do these with you guys. The more that we grow, the more people we have on these calls, the more people who like this video. If you haven't already, please do so that way we can grow and give you more value. So like the video. If we can continue to do that, if we continue to grow, there's going to be tons more value that I will be providing for you guys. I'm also trying to figure out how I can trade binary live with you guys here on YouTube. So that way, obviously, you can get that benefit as well. I do have an auto trader for binary options for students. So I also want to make sure that at least maybe on a Friday, at least once a week, I can even trade binary with everybody, not just students. So if you guys give me more, or not give me more value, if you guys like the video, we get more viewers, I will give you guys tons and tons and tons of more value, more profits, more transparency. So let me just go ahead back into chat, make sure you guys are good. I'm not missing anybody. All right, seems like everybody's good. But yeah, real quick, if you guys can, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. If you haven't liked the video, please do so. If you're not a part of our Discord, make sure you are, so you're up to date and not missing any content, any value, any signals, so that way you guys are on top of everything. So yeah, appreciate you guys. Everyone here, you are absolutely amazing. I hope you are doing, I hope you're having an amazing week. I hope you're having, I already said that. I hope you're having an amazing week. I'm over here reading comments and everything as I'm speaking. That's complicated. But yeah, I hope everybody has an amazing day. I hope you have an amazing week as well. If there's any trade signals, if there's any opportunities that I see, I'll obviously share that with you guys and also students. I'll leave some of my markups in the Discord again for you guys to take advantage of. But yeah, appreciate you all. Have an amazing day. I'll see you guys on the next one. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. All right, everybody. Thank you.